My husband is a pathological liar. Help me, please. When I first met my husband 3 years ago, he was charming and love-bombed me from the beginning. One of the first things he told me was that he had a master's degree and that he was currently working on a second one online. When we moved, he told me that he never wrote his final paper and never finished the degree. I of course encouraged him to finish it, but we stopped talking about it. A month ago he randomly told me that he had finished the degree and that it was hanging in his office. I was instantly suspicious. The next day I asked him to send me a picture of his new diploma and he never responded, completely airing my message. He later told me the cell tower was out near work. I dropped the topic and knew that I would get the chance to see his office eventually. Last week the chance arose and lo and behold, there was no diploma hanging in his office. I asked him about it and he said, "I never told you I had it hanging, it's probably buried under some paperwork." I grabbed his binder of documents off the shelf and started flipping through it. There was only one diploma and it was for a Bachelor of Arts. He immediately told me that that was a mistake and was actually a BS and that his dad had his master's diploma. And that paper was outdated and that it was incredibly difficult to update things like that through HR. When we got home I asked for any proof of his most recent degree, anything, even an email would suffice. He couldn't give me any proof. I asked for his advisor's name and he immediately gave a name. I looked it up and there's no one by that name associated with the university. I asked him what he submitted his coursework through and he said that his university uses Moodle. At this point I knew he was obviously lying and assumed he was lying about the other as well. He kept telling me he would get his transcript to show me though. I called the university registrar's office for the most recent degree. And they had no record of him, he was never enrolled there. That evening I sat him down and told him we needed to talk about the lying. He confessed that he had not completed the degree but had enrolled there and that he did in fact have a master's from his first university. I told him I knew he was lying and that I had called the university and begged him to stop lying. I asked him again if he was telling the truth about the other masters and that if he was lying I would leave. He swore up and down he was telling the truth. I even told him I was going to call that university to check. I called the university and was able to get a degree verification that he only had the Bachelor of Arts. That evening I told him I knew that he had lied to my face again and that I had contacted the school. He didn't skip a beat. The first words out of his mouth were, "It's actually 2 bachelor's degrees." I was baffled. I had just told him I had proof of his degree and he tried to lie again. He doesn't seem fazed when presented with the truth and just tries to tell more lies. He then tried to tell me the university was wrong and it was supposed to be a Bachelor of Science. Never admitting to the lie, just a constant spew of more lies. He doesn't seem remorseful. I asked him today if he actually believed his lies. He said no, that he knew they were lies and that he just wanted me to be proud of him. When we first started dating he tried to tell me that he was adopted. A few months later on his birthday I saw a text from his mom, "Come through that red, happy birthday, I remember when you were born and they laid you on my chest, 8 pounds 3 ounces. I confronted him about it and he tried to say that she had given him up and then gotten him back. He then said he remembered a lady calling him by a different name and some nonsense about his brother telling him he's adopted. He also said his dad's name wasn't on his birth certificate. I found his birth certificate and his dad's name is on it. We got in a big fight over it and it eventually just came down to him saying, "I dunno, that's just what I thought though." This summer I got pregnant with him but ended up having a miscarriage at 5 weeks. It was really early and I knew that these things happen and there was likely something wrong with the embryo. However, I was feeling sad about it and hoping for some comfort from my husband. He ended up yelling at me and telling me he had 4 other miscarriages to deal with at work and that this is just like when we argue about the dishes. I was beyond hurt and couldn't believe he could say such things to me. I was crying at that point and asking what was wrong with him. He backpedaled a bit and claimed he'd misread the situation.